Okay, Arboni, let's talk about what Filipinos would like to hear from you. Let's talk about your Filipino roots. Would that be okay?
Okay. Sure. Yes, of course.
Okay, what is it like growing up a Filipino American in the US?
Well, I grew up, my father is from the Philippines, so I grew up on a lot of family gatherings, and we'd have the lechon at the table. Every time somebody would have a birthday, my big family would get together. I have a big Filipino family in Texas and in California. So I was fortunate to go to California a lot growing up. And I just grew up around a lot of love. My titos and titas are so funny. Filipinos are always joking, always happy, and bring so much joy. So
Always
I'm so
singing.
thankful. What's that?
Always singing.
Yes, always karaoke. You already know.
Yeah. But
So yeah, I grew up on those type of traditions. My mother is from Texas, so I had two different family dynamics, and I grew up being able to love both of them.
but yeah, since you mentioned that, did you have a hard time identifying with your, Filipino roots?
Yeah, I would say so because I'm only half, but I would say my Filipino family would always, they'd maybe joke with me sometimes because I don't know everything or I can't speak too much Tagalog. But, it would always be a joke if I don't know something, but they would always teach me different things growing up, like how to
Hmm.
eat or foods to try, even. So, I mean, my family's always giving me tough love, but they're so funny as well. And at this time, they're extremely happy for me.
Oh, extremely proud, I suppose. And you were you raised in a more Filipino way? Since you said that of course, your father is a Filipino.
I would say half and half. My mother was the one that cooked, so I actually grew up mostly on, Southern food in Texas. And my father was more the one that instilled in me hard work, and he would always be putting me into different sports and applying me to learn new things. And I know I remember always growing up, my tito would teach me tennis on Saturday mornings. And so that's like a great memory I have. But my Filipino family would always have me doing new things. Like you said, karaoke. I remember we would do a lot of dancing. I don't know if you remember the DDR, where you would put that on the game console and dance on the arrows. So the family gatherings were always fun in one way or another. Lots of food, dancing, drinking, singing, meeting new family members, wondering, hey, how are
Oh,
we related? Because I have such a big family.
Filipinos are always big families. They're like always related. Like even though they're
Yes.
like 4 or 5 degrees um, apart, but they're still related in some
Like
way.
there's always a birthday or a wedding or just a get together, no
That
matter
is
what.
right. That is right. Did you pick up any Filipino quirks? That you noticed when you were growing up, like probably, you know, using your mouth to point, like
The
that's a
point,
Filipino way.
yes.
That's a Filipino
Using your
way.
mouth.
That's right. And us Filipinos, pick up, we pick things up on the floor using our toes.
I was about to say, absolutely, I do that. And I never really realized that that was something different until I did it around my friends that weren't Filipino. And they were like, what did you just do? And to me, it was so natural to pick up something with my feet.
That is Filipino. That's an undeniably Filipino.
And I
What?
have the broom. I grew up with the Filipino broom to sweep the floor instead of the ones that we have here in America. And I always
Oh.
introduce it to my friends, and they're like, "What is that?" And I tell them it's so much better to sweep the floor this way. It's so much
Oh
easier.
yeah, yeah. My mom's in Chicago. My whole family's in Chicago. Never misses. Every time I go there, she always asks for a broom. Every time. Until the Filipino stores carried them, I'm safe because I always like think I'd always have a hard time bringing it through immigrations or whatever. Okay,
Oh, I love it.
what is the most Pinay thing about you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I would say, sometimes people don't realize I'm Filipino actually, but then when I bring my dad around and they really see where my roots are, they understand and they realize, wow, I didn't realize that you were Filipino. But for me, I really love Filipino food, but I don't eat meat. So I'm big on the bakery sweets. So I love to introduce people to mamon or ensamada.
Oh
And I've
yeah.
actually been eating a lot of ensamada. I ate seven on
And
Saturday.
seven ensaimadas?
Yes. So I think for me, the most thing I think of Filipinos, we're very fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously. I cannot sing, but I will sing if I have to, if my family makes me do karaoke. And I feel like we're always enjoying good food.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Like every single, I don't know, every single month of the year, I guess there's a Filipino gathering going on, like birthday or a wedding or whatever. So we enjoy food.
Yes. And I like boxing. I do it for fun sometimes. So
Oh, have you met Manny Pacquiao just yet?
I have not. I have not. Maybe that will happen one day. I don't know.
You were always proud about you being half Filipino. And was there a time that you were bullied because of it?
I would say so, but growing up in where I grew up, it was very diverse. There was a lot of different cultures, but when we're kids, when you're different, you just get bullied for different little things. I can't remember anything specific, but
Mhm.
sometimes I would feel a little bit too white for my Filipino family and a little bit too Filipino for my white family. So I kind of bounced back and forth between that kind of identity crisis, but it wasn't anything that was too terrible for me. I feel like I don't remember a lot of the bad things in my life. Like I always focus on the good. I
Mhm.
don't have anything specific that I can remember, but probably just here and there, my friends would make fun of me, but still love on me for being Asian, but it was nothing crazy. Opportunity. I've never had such a big microphone in my life, and I want to be a voice for the voiceless, people that feel like they don't have a say or bring different issues that need to be talked about. As Miss Universe, it's only 1 year, and I definitely want to make the most of it and take advantage of this opportunity to spread a good message, words of inspiration, the meaning of diversity and representation, and how it is so important to embrace who you are, especially to young girls. Like we're talking about how young girls maybe were shy about who they were or who they're different because of their culture, whether that's Asian or Latino or anything.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sometimes I think when we're younger, we hide our voice, we hide our identity to just really camouflage ourselves within a crowd. But if anything, I think it's important to champion your differences, because that will open up different, unique opportunities that only fit for you in life.